Okay, I now have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Shahzeen Attari to the stage. Shaz is Associate Professor of Public and Environmental Affairs at Indiana University Bloomington. Last year, she began a prestigious Andrew Carnegie Fellowship to conduct research on motivating climate action by fusing facts and feelings. Take it away, Shaz.
All right, hello everyone. So I'm going to be talking to you today about perceptions and biases of energy use. I'm trained as an engineer, but I work in psychology and cognitive science. My research for the past decade has focused on why don't Americans adopt energy efficient technologies and conserve energy. And when you think about why people don't act, I think about, all right, maybe they don't know what they should be doing, so I just don't know, and if people knew what they should be doing, then all right, they would act. Alternatively, maybe people are just not motivated to act. They don't have the right cost incentives, they don't have attention, the social norms are all wrong. So what I've been focusing on is information and motivation. So if I were to ask you, in your opinion, what is the single most effective thing you can do to conserve energy? What would you say? Fly less. Light bulbs, okay. So here are some of our responses. The top answer that we have always received is turning off the lights, 20%. So if you were to group these actions into curtailment, which is doing the same behavior but less of it, and efficiency, most people think about curtailment. That we just have to do the same behavior but just less of it. But what we know about turning off the lights is that it's a feel-good behavior, but it's not the most effective behavior. So is it that people don't know, or is it that they don't want to do more effective behaviors themselves? So what if we were to reframe this question as and compare what it is that you want to do versus what you want other Americans to do? Would we get the same answer? So in this work, we looked at what is it that you want to do, what do you think is most effective, versus what do you think other Americans should do? So do you think the answers would be the same? No. So let's just look at the top 3 responses. And what we find is that turn off the lights is still the #1 response for self, but the #1 response for others is drive less, carpool, walk, biking. And what's really interesting is that there are a lot of people that say, I'll turn off the lights, you guys turn off the lights. But what's surprising to us is this asymmetry. There are more people who are likely to say, I'll turn off the lights, you drive less, you carpool. So it's not necessarily that people don't know, it's that they're not motivated effectively to do these behaviors themselves. But then how do we perceive how much energy different appliances use? We're constantly using energy in its very different forms, from heating, lighting, cooling, transportation. So how do people think about energy? So in this work, we looked at how do people perceive energy. On the y-axis, you have people's perceptions. On the x-axis, you have actual energy used in watt hours. But a lot of people don't know what a watt hour is. So we said, all right, imagine a 100-watt light bulb uses 100 units of energy in an hour. How many units of energy would your laptop computer use, or your desktop computer, or your air conditioner, or your car? So this is all of the data combined, and in general, the data that falls along the diagonal line means people's perceptions match reality. What you notice is a lot of the data is under the diagonal line, so people are really underestimating how much energy different appliances use. So let me walk you through some concrete examples. Laptops are overestimated by a factor of 2, so people think it's equivalent to 1 light bulb when it's actually equivalent to half a light bulb, okay? Dishwashers are underestimated by a factor of 9, so people think it's equivalent to 2 light bulbs when it's actually equivalent to 18. The biggest kicker is changing the washer setting from hot to cold is underestimated by a factor of 40. So people think it's equivalent to 1 light bulb when it's actually equivalent to 40 light bulbs. So we really have a very challenging understanding of how much energy different appliances use. So who is accurate? So we asked just two. So please take this with a grain of salt, a huge grain of salt. We asked 2 electrical engineers about their perceptions, and they're really accurate. So all of their data lines along the diagonal line. All right, engineers. So then the challenge for us is how do we take this curve and pull it up towards the diagonal? How do we get people to really clearly understand how much energy different appliances use? So in this new work, we actually tested 2 separate interventions. One is providing people multiple anchors. So it's very similar to gear shifting when you're driving a car. So we provided 5 watts, 100 watts, and 4,000 watts. And an alternative intervention was providing an expert heuristic. So if I were to tell you large appliances that heat and cool use a lot more energy than you think, how would that change your perceptions of how much energy different appliances use? The good news is you can actually take that original curve and get it steeper and steeper and steeper just by providing very simple heuristics to people about how much energy different appliances use. So as you can see here, the heuristic takes the slope and makes it steep. The multiple anchors makes it even more steep because it actually helps people understand the entire scale of how much energy different appliances use, and providing both is the steepest. So what are effective actions? Turning off the light is great, keep doing it, but you can buy a fuel-efficient car, you can replace your incandescent light bulbs with LEDs, get frequent car tune-ups, change your heating, ventilation, AC system, and carpool with other people. But what I want to sort of push us to think about today, especially given that we're in the solution space, is that we need to make more effective behaviors salient, and we need to move beyond these feel-good behaviors. And we also need to start creating a library of heuristics about what are effective actions. Because when you ask people, people have been saying the same answer, turn off the lights, since the 1980s, and we need to move beyond that. So that's what I would like to push our community to do, and thank you very much.